Hi, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I am going to start another series. That's right, this is a series that I promised quite a few weeks ago now, where I took my favourite real licensed squishies and maybe some unlicensed one and made them into homemade ones. So as you can see here on the left, I have the Puni Maru mini penguin, and I absolutely love this little squishy. I got this from Squishy Kiosk, and it's just the perfect mini size, and I don't know why, I just love it so much. I think its metallicness just screams out to me. So anyway, I made a homemade version of this, as you can see there on the right. It isn't as good as the Puni Maru one, obviously, because that squishy cost about, I think it's about £12 that one cost me. But I think the slow risingness of it, the cuteness of the face and everything like that just worked out perfectly, and I'm really happy with how I recreated this one, and I'm super excited to start off this series with this squishy recreation. So as you can see here, this is from the very top, this is from the sides, and then I'll give you a close-up so you can see the little faces and everything like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into the kind of how I made it and just show you the process that I took to actually make this squishy, as I know a couple of other YouTubers have already started this. I know ketchupgiri did a homemade versus real squishies, and I absolutely love that, but she didn't show how she made them. So I figured in my series I would make them and then I would insert a bit of the video into it where I obviously made them. So to make this little penguin, what I did was I kind of put it up to a block of memory foam, and I just drew on the front kind of shape, and then I twisted it to the side and drew on the side shape also. Now the reason I do this is just so that I can get the sizing and everything like that right, and what I'll do is I'll focus on one of them at a time. So in this case I focused on the front picture and I just smoothed it out to that size to begin with. I then went ahead and just stared at the front of it and then stared at the front of the real one, and I just started shaping away in a 3D motion, sculpting the shape of the penguin into the foam. Now with scissors, you'll want to make sure you've got the sharpest ones possible to make the smoothest finish of foam, and you'll also want to make sure that they're not a massive pair. My scissors are actually really big and they don't work so well for such small squishy making, but they do the job because they're kind of sharp enough. So basically what I did was I went back and forth with the real squishy and I just kind of compared it to see what bits I needed to cut off and how big I needed to make it. At first my squishy was way bigger than the actual original one, but I did cut it down to size, as you may as well just seen. So yeah, I just carried on smoothing it until I was really happy. So next I took some metallics silver puffy paint and I just mixed in some neon blue. This didn't really do much, so I went in with Scribbles medium blue is the shade, shiny medium blue, and I just mixed some of that in until I kind of matched it to the Puni Maru penguin. This wasn't really kind of greeny enough, so I actually went ahead and added some of their pearlescent shiny green. I think that's what it's called. I think that's the actual name. And I just mixed that in until I was happy, and this turned out to be the exact same shade. Now I kind of plop this all on. I do it in a very thick motion, and as you can see here, if you don't really thicken it on and press down too hard on your stick, you will end up absorbing it into the sponge. So you don't want to do that. You want to do what I'm doing on the right hand side, take a lot of it and kind of pat it on and smooth it out after with a really light hand, so you make a really thick layer. This will allow your squishy to be way more slow rising. It will take up quite a bit of paint on the first layer, but the sponge won't absorb so much paint to begin with. So yeah, I just thought I would put a little slow-mo bit in there so you can see what I mean. Now this is where disaster struck. I left this to dry and it came out so much darker. I don't know what happened, but the paint just really darkened up over time, and I don't know why, because as you've seen I mixed the paint to match the penguin and it just dried so dark. I also left my paint pot open, so that darkened as well, so yeah. what I did was I added loads of white puffy paint into the paint and just really weakened it down, and for some reason it went back to the same colour as the penguin as before, so I don't know why that happened, but it did. So yeah, I used to make allowances for that all the time, but that stopped happening, but it happened this time. Anyway, what I did was I painted over that and then just painted on the bottom half on another go and set that to dry. What I then did was just took some plain white puffy paint and I just painted on a square, kind of circly kind of shape onto the very front of the penguin. I just basically copied the white shape that was on the original. I popped loads of white puffy paint on this and just smoothed it out. To make the little kind of hair-like bit on the top, I just went back in with the mint whilst the white was still wet, and this was just to kind of blend it in a little bit better. It was hard to show on camera as the lighting was a little bit bright. So what I then did was I scratched out 3 other scribbles colour, and one was medium yellow, one was dark brown, and one was the pink shade. And what I did was I just painted on the little feet to begin with a very small paintbrush, really lagging on that paint to give a nice thick layer. I also then painted on a little triangle on the face to make the penguin's beak, and then taking that really dark chocolatey brown colour, I just painted on 2 eyes. Next to each of the eyes, I then took some pink paint and added the blush, and I left it to dry, and my squishy was then complete. So if you like this idea for a new series, then please do give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments which ones you would like to see me recreate, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!